Om Shanti. We heard a beautiful song where the mind is compared to a swan. When the mind gets purified and starts generating positive energy waves, it becomes like a swan. So, talking to the mind, that oh mind, you pick up the pearls of Raj Yoga and make your life beautiful by inculcating those pearls. So such a beautiful song of inspiration. And this is the result of Raj Yoga in our lives. That our practical lives, they become so beautiful that there is an inner contentment of leading this life, becoming a source of inspiration for many. So yes, yesterday we saw the basic method and the basis of Raj Yoga. Today we shall see the different stages of Raj Yoga. Because when I am knowledgeful about how I would go through this path, what are the difficulties that I may have to face, and how would I overcome them, then it becomes easy for me to progress. So there are mainly 4 stages of Raj Yoga. The first stage of Raj Yoga, which we call as the initiation of mind, where we initiate the mind into contemplation. The second stage of Raj Yoga, then gradually after contemplation, is what we call as communication with God, where there is a hearty communication on the basis of the different relationships that I establish with Him. The third stage of meditation is when the love gets deeper. Then we are able to focus our minds, concentrate the mind in His remembrance, where we get absorbed in His remembrance. And the fourth stage of Raj Yoga is what we call as realization, where different realizations I experience and enrich my life with those divine experiences. So these are the 4 main stages of Raj Yoga. Now if we see all these stages in detail, when we say the first stage is initiating the mind in the remembrance of the Supreme, definitely it is not that easy in the beginning. Why? Because since all these years in our life we have never practiced. We never became aware that there is a need for me to initiate the mind in the remembrance of the Supreme as well. It is very easy for me to remember the bodily beings, but whenever we want to remember the Supreme, the mind wanders away. Have we ever tracked where the mind goes? Where the mind wanders away? Which is that pathway? Which is that doorway from where the mind wanders away? When the desire is there to remember the Supreme, but the complaint is always there that the mind cannot be concentrated. So where does it wander? If we ever track, we'll find that the doorway for the mind to wander is any one of the senses, the sense organs. Supposing during the whole day I am talking to people, and when I am talking to people, in my talk casually some things come out which I hardly realize, that I shouldn't have spoken these words or shouldn't have said this thing to this person. Afterwards we get engaged in our work and we forget. But when we sit in front of God and want to concentrate the mind, that is the time when the whole thing comes up in the mind and we start realizing, oh, I shouldn't have said this to him. Now if we would go and say it to somebody else, it would create such a big misunderstanding and the relationship would spoil. And after that, how can I convince that I didn't mean it? So we are sitting in front of God, trying to say our prayers or focus our mind on the Supreme, but the mind wanders away. Where does the mind go? Behind the mischief that was played by this sense organ, mouth. When the mouth became naughty and we were not able to control our words, the mind wanders away. And even while sitting in front of God, we get stressed. That is why the first aspect of Raj Yoga is control your sense organs. Master your sense organs, as it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where again and again God says to Arjuna, have you mastered your sense organs? The moment you will master your sense organs, you will be able to master your mind as well. Or the best way to master your mind is make your mind your best friend. So when I master my mind, then only I can channelize the energy of my mind in the right direction and can make my mind my best friend. So this is why there are various sayings also that the mind becomes naughty because the sense organs are naughty. They play mischief with the mind also. Are we able to control our tongue? 2.5 inches tongue. Can we control the tongue? Is it easy? Therefore, there is a beautiful saying. This tongue has no bones, but it can break bones when not managed properly. Can we control our ears? The whole day I need information. I want to know what is happening. What are people talking about? What are they saying? So the whole day I want to know. But whatever information goes through the ears, am I able to manage that information? Some people say, we hear through one ear and take it out through the other when it is not necessary. But whatever has gone through one ear, does it ever come out through the other ear? No, it goes through both the ears. And if we see the shape of the ear, it's like a question mark. So whatever information goes through these ears, they are being questioned in the mind. Why did he say this? What for? What was the reason? And so many other questions are being asked. And then, it would never come out through the other ear, but it would slip down through the tongue. And then we say it was a slip of a tongue. So can I manage my ears? Can I manage my mouth? These small sense organs. But at times they become so naughty that it makes the mind also wander. Makes the mind come into a state of unrest, uneasiness. We are not able to relax the mind and focus in the remembrance of the Supreme. So in order to master the mind, we need to master the sense organs first. That is the pathway. And then to initiate the mind into the remembrance of the Supreme. Now it's not so easy that immediately I'll be able to focus my mind on the Supreme as soon as I desire. No. Therefore, yesterday we saw that the first step of meditation is self-contemplation. Atma-chintan. So when I am able to think about the qualities of the self and gradually generate that energy, so that becomes the base. For me to initiate the mind. But it is seen that we also call this stage as Sagar Manthan. In the scriptures, there is a story of Sagar Manthan, churning of the ocean. And this churning of the ocean was done by the deities and devils, the Asuras. As they were churning the ocean, it is said that the poison started coming out, first of all. And the smell of the poison was such that the deities started getting unconscious. So many of the deities became unconscious. So the rest were worried. If all the deities would become unconscious by the smell of the poison, the jar of nectar would be taken up by the asuras and they will become immortal. So it is said that the deities, they go up to Shiva, request him that this is what is happening. So please come, otherwise the jar of nectar will be taken away by the asuras. So it is said that at that time, Shiva comes in front of them and he drank all the poison, kept it in his neck. Then again, he revived those deities who were unconscious, and the Sagar Manthan starts again. Gradually, one after the other things come out, and in the end, the jar of nectar also comes out, which is taken up by Mohini, the beautiful form of Lakshmi. And very tactfully, she gave that nectar to the deities. And this is how the deities became immortal and the asuras were not able to get that nectar. Now this is a story in the scriptures, but actually this is the first stage of meditation. How? When we start meditation, when we initiate the mind into meditation, the negative thoughts also would come up. It is not that we are immediately able to take the mind into the contemplation of soul consciousness. No. The negative thoughts also come up. So there is a struggle that goes on between the positive thoughts and the negative thoughts. And we have to become victorious upon the negative thoughts. But it is realized that it is not that easy. So here the mind is compared to an ocean, and I have to churn that ocean. Why is it compared to an ocean? Because if you see in lakes, wherever there are lakes, the water becomes so still that you are able to see the whole reflection in that water. So still. No waves in the lake at times. At times when the river is also shallow, maybe or in deep places, the water becomes so still that we are able to see the reflection of the nature in that water. No waves, completely silent. But in an ocean, you can never see a reflection. The ocean, constantly there are waves. Sometimes there are small waves going on. Sometimes there are huge waves. And sometimes there is a storm in the ocean. So the mind is also compared to an ocean, because no moment of the day is such where we do not have thoughts. Thinking is a constant process of mind. So that is why we cannot make the mind thoughtless in meditation. For a few moments also, if we suppress the thoughts, you can feel as if your mind has become silent. But anything which is suppressed and then let go, there is the double bounce that we experience. So if we suppress the thoughts, and then when we come into action, it will bounce with a double speed, which will create problem for the self. So in meditation, we do not make the mind thoughtless. Because constantly there are thoughts coming up, waves of thoughts are constantly going on. Sometimes when we come under stress, we come under tension, there are huge waves that are rising in the mind also. And sometimes when the mind is so much disturbed, there is a storm that is taking place in the mind. So this is human mind. It is like an ocean. No moment is without thinking. Now I have to churn this ocean. There has to be a sagar manthan. Because the nectar is within. And I have to bring that nectar out. But initially when I churn, when I initiate the mind into the process, the devas are the positive thoughts, the asuras are the negative thoughts. So when we churn, it is not that the asuras, the negative thoughts would never come up. The mind is so much habituated to think negative that there are many negative thoughts that are also interrupting in my meditation. And initially, what would come out? The poison comes out. So sometimes we have this feeling that in meditation, the storm of negative thought is increasing. And the poison is coming out. And together with this poison, the good thoughts, noble thoughts, positive thoughts, they are subsiding. They are diminishing. So what do we do at that time? Some people have this thought, I think I'll never be able to do meditation, because whenever I sit for meditation, the negative thoughts come in such a way, they empower the mind. There are such thoughts which I never had before in my life, and they start coming up. It is not that we never had those types of negative thoughts. We had. But during that time, we used to think these thoughts are normal for a human being. And we have kept them in our minds. Anything which is churned, when even buttermilk is churned, what will happen? When buttermilk is churned, whatever is below would come up to the surface. So similarly, all those negative thoughts which we had sustained in our minds, they start coming up. And which disturbs us, which does not allow us to meditate, which makes the positive thoughts completely unconscious. But don't be afraid at that time. Don't think that I won't be able to meditate. But what do we do at that time? We invoke Shiva. We invoke the Supreme Father. And we offer all those negative thoughts, that poison also, to Him. So when we offer that poison to Him, He will accept it. Don't have this thought, how can I offer negative thoughts, evil thoughts to Shiva, to God? Yes, this is what we have been doing. In the path of bhakti also, whenever we went to the temples of Shiva, what type of flowers did we offer? What flowers are offered in the temple of Shiva? The most poisonous flowers. Ak. So, those flowers which are poisonous, we never offer roses in the temple of Shiva. So this is a memorial that he would accept the poison from us, from our lives. I don't know the name of those flowers in English or in your language, whatever you say, but I hope you have understood that the flowers that are offered in the temple of Shiva are the most poisonous flowers. So similarly, the poison that we have within us, offer that to Shiva. Invoke Shiva in your thoughts and offer those thoughts also to him. Then again start the churning. Shiva would revive those positive thoughts again, and it will help us in contemplation again. Again, whenever negative thoughts increase, offer them to Shiva. Doesn't matter. You can offer to him. There is no problem in offering to him. He will accept it. And this is how the cleansing of the mind has to be done. The mind has to be completely cleared of the negative thoughts. Then gradually we'll have the experience how the mind is getting transformed. And there are beautiful thoughts that are coming up. One after the other we find things coming out of this ocean. The treasures are coming up. The treasures of peace, the treasure of love, the treasure of good thoughts, the positive energy. We start getting different things, different treasures from our own minds. And we can feel so good within. Then finally, that Amrit Kalash would also come out. So what is that Amrit Kalash? Where the positivity is constant. And when we get that Amrit Kalash, who is that Mohini? What is that form of Lakshmi in our lives? The basic Lakshan, what we say, is Lakshmi in human being. Just like when a person gets married and the wife is of good conduct, good manners, when she comes in the house, what do we say? Sulakshmi has come in our house. And a lady with bad conduct, bad character enters the house. What do we say? Kulakshmi has come. So Sulakshmi and Kulakshmi. Who is that Lakshmi within us? The conduct or the manners that the person has in his life. The type of inculcation that a person has in his life is termed as Lakshmi. Good Lakshmi, Sulakshmi or Kulakshmi. So this nectar is then adapted in our inculcation, in our manners, in our conduct of life. And that is how we are able to overcome the negativities in our lives, the negative thoughts. We are able to master the mind and this is how the positivity becomes constant in our lives. They become permanent, immortal in our life. And then we can feel that the amrit is, the nectar is flowing in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our attitudes, in our perception, in our behavior, in our action with all. And when we get this experience of the nectar flowing, we feel my life is worth living now. We enjoy living that life which is full of nectar, which gives us good experiences. But initially, we have to go through the struggle between the positive and negative thoughts. Everybody has to go through this initial beginning of struggle. Without struggle, there is no achievement in life also. So similarly, if I want to get the achievement of good experiences, if I want to achieve the mastery over the mind, the initial struggle everybody has to go through. Just like in Ayurveda or naturopathy, there are such medicines. Whenever a person has some skin disease, and if they go to a Ayurvedic doctor or a homeopathic doctor, when he gives them the pills, he will instruct them. Look, you have to observe these principles. Don't have to take sour things, don't have to take these things, don't have to take chili things. So many principles he gives us. And after that he would say, when you take this medicine and when you observe the principles, initially the disease will increase because it is coming out from the roots. It has to come out. That poison has to come out. So when it comes out, you will feel that the disease has increased, but don't be afraid of that. Once all the poison has come out, then you will find your skin will become smooth and you will be completely relieved from this disease. So the same thing. When we begin meditation, initially the negative thoughts will increase. Don't be afraid of them, because let it come out. Go on offering to Shiva. He is there to take all the poison from your life, from the minds. Don't give up. What is happening? Don't get afraid. There are some principles that has to be observed so that the cleansing of the mind becomes easy and faster. But once all the poison has come out, then we find that the mind has been purified and it becomes so beautiful, starts generating so beautiful thoughts. And we enjoy. We can make the mind our best friend. And it can give us the best experiences of the world. This is experience. So this is the first stage of meditation. That initial struggle everybody has to go through. And in that process, many people, they feel I can never be able to meditate, so they give up. Don't give up. This is a good sign if you have to go through the struggle. It is a good sign. Just like if we had some guests or some friends who would come every day to our house and we went on entertaining them with good food and good drinks and everything, definitely they'll have the habit of regularly coming to our house. And one day you come to know that this person whom I have been entertaining, I am thinking as my friend, he's looting me only. He's making my pockets empty every time. But now he's powerful. So you cannot refuse him, otherwise he will bully you. So then what will you do? Whenever he comes, you stop entertaining him. You stop paying attention to him and you get engaged in some other work. After some days he would realize, I think this person is not interested in me now. He stopped giving me the beautiful food. He stopped offering me all the good things, the good drinks and food and everything. I think I'll have to find somebody else now. So then he goes out to look for a new friend who can entertain him with all that. But till then he will keep on coming with the desire, maybe you may change someday. But then when he realizes that now you have understood, so you won't change, then he stops coming at your place and finds somebody else. The same thing had happened. All these years we were entertaining negative thoughts, thinking they are our best friend. We were entertaining the vices in our lives, thinking they are the need for me. This is the need of the hour. But then today we come to know that these vices, these negative thoughts have been looting my potential, is looting my efficiencies. And it has made me become weaker and weaker. So now, with this realization, what do? The negative thoughts will naturally come because it is habituated. But I stop entertaining those thoughts. I do not pay attention to those thoughts and focus my attention on the positive thoughts only, because I have to generate positive energy. Then finally, gradually you find that they become less, and then they'll take leave from your life forever. So this is the first stage of meditation, that when we initiate the mind into positive thoughts, the negative thoughts also would come. Definitely they won't give up. But whenever we have those negative thoughts, invoke Shiva, offer to him the poison. He will pull all the poison from your life. And then we have beautiful thoughts emerging in the mind. The mind is cleansed, the mind is purified. So when the mind is purified, there is great relaxation experienced. There is peace of mind that you experience. And the mind gives us the best experiences of life. As the mind gets purified, then we enter the second stage, where we start communicating with God. So in order to have this communication, the initial stage of generating positive thoughts is important. Because when we have positive thoughts, then only we can develop this habit of communicating with God. Definitely it will take some time. It's not an overnight process. For this hand also, if I want to teach this hand or train this hand to write A, B, C, D, how much time would it take? When I want to teach a child or train his hand to write A, B, C, D, every day I would make him write A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. And after 6 months, we find that the hand is able to write A, B, C, D on its own now. The same thing with the mind also. When we want to train the mind to get into positive thinking, It's not an overnight process. It will definitely take some time. How much time? It depends upon your sincerity. How much sincere you are in training the mind to get into positive thinking. And then when this base is developed, then we are able to have communication with God. We can talk to God also. On the basis of the different relationships, the most near and dear relations that we have are 6 relationships. So to establish those 6 relationships with the Supreme, and which were they? Yesterday we saw the first relationship is of a mother and a child, the parent and the child, where the child has so much attachment, and because he is attached to his parents, he would think about his parents constantly. The second relationship is when the child starts going to school, he starts remembering his teacher, because now he is attached to the teacher, study, school, etc. So he would have those thoughts. Still, as he grows up, and when he gets a guru in his life, he is attached to the guru, and he starts having thoughts about the guru. The fourth relation is of a friend. Like Arjuna had established with him, Sudama had established with him, and experienced the benefit of that relationship. The fifth relationship is of a beloved, like Mirabai, where she is able to experience that the urn of poison also transforms into nectar and nothing happens to her. That is the concern of God for his dear ones, near ones. And the sixth relationship is that where we become the parents and we have children. And we can take God to be our child also. That is also a beautiful relationship. We get good experience in that. So how can we develop all these relationships with God? If we just take up the first relationship of a parent and a child, if I ask you to remember your bodily parents, is it easy or difficult? Yeah? Easy. How would you remember them? What would you think about them when you remember your parents? What are the thoughts? How would you remember them? Look, it is easy, but we do not know what we think at that time. Whenever we remember the parents, it is on the basis of their qualities. How the parents, they love us. How much they had tolerated for us. How much they had renunciated for us. What pains they went through when they were bringing up the children. So all those things, all those qualities we remember. Whenever you have seen small children talking about their parents, how would they talk? One child would say, "My mother loves me so much. She has brought this toy for me." And he shows the toy to the friends, showing the love of the mother. And at that time, the other child would not remain quiet. What will he say? "My mother also loves me so much. She is also going to bring for me a better one than this." Trying to praise the mother in front of the friend. And as he praises, And he leaves his friend, and when he comes home, he starts demanding from the mother, bring me this toy, bring me this toy. Because the next day he wants to show his friend how much his mother loves him. But at that time, what do? We slap him and say, every time you have new demands. Don't know where you're learning this from. And when we slap him, it is not that we have slapped him on the face, no. We have slapped on his heart. And this impression would create in such a manner, making him feel, my mother does not love me. My friend's mother loves him. What will I go and show my friend tomorrow? My mother does not love me at all. So this impression stays there, remains throughout the life. It is not one slap that you have slapped him in a light way also, but that slap was on his heart. So whenever your children demand something from you, don't slap them. Try to understand why he is asking for it. And when he clarifies that because my friend's mother brought for him, so I also want to show him that my mother also loves me so much. That is why I am asking from you. So when he clarifies, even if you don't want to bring him, console him. That is of no use. When we go to the big cities, we'll get for you the best one. And then you can show your friend. So the child is convinced by that. Don't slap him. And so when the next day he will go to school, he'll tell his friend, you know, my mother loves me more than your mother. She promised me that when we will go to the city, you'll get the best quality of it. Afterwards, he's going to forget only. Why slap him every time when he's asking for something or the other? So, realize that how much he loves you. And this is the way we have to show our love also. So similarly, God is the ocean of all good qualities. And when He is the ocean of all good qualities, I can remember Him on the basis of the divine qualities, and that is my love for Him. And every moment we can feel the sustenance. Every moment I can feel His love is there with me. It reminds me of a beautiful story. That there was once a person who had a dream. You might have heard this story before also, but very appropriate at this place, at this moment. That the person has a dream, and in his dream he sees as if he is walking by the side of the ocean, on the seashore. And when he takes a closer look, he sees that there are some footsteps. When he takes a more closer look, he finds that at times there were 4 footsteps, and at times there are only 2 footsteps. When he still looks closer, he sees that in his journey of life, whenever there were good times, happy moments, there were 4 footsteps. And whenever there were sorrowful times, some most disheartening times, there were only 2 footsteps. So he talks to God and says, God, I thought you were always by my side. But what do I see today? That in my happy moments, you are walking with me. There are 4 footsteps, 2 mine and 2 yours. But in my most disheartening times, sorrowful times, the sad moments that I was going through, I see only 2 footsteps. Where did you leave me at that time when I needed you the most? So God smiles and tells him, no child, I was always by your side. In your happy moments, I was holding your finger and walking with you by your side. But in your sorrowful times, disheartening times, the sad moments, I was not able to tolerate your sadness, those sorrows that you were going through. But I did not want you to walk and take the pain in that. So I lifted you in my arms. These 2 footsteps that you see are not yours, they are mine. So this is the love of God. He's always by our side. And if we also just turn around and look at the journey of our life, we find that whenever we were going through the low moments in our life, who was there to give me that power and strength to overcome those sad moments? It was God himself, as if he was holding me in his arms. And this is how he was giving me the inner strength, inner power to tolerate, to overcome, which we realize also. As if there was some help that was coming in an incognito way, which enabled me to cross these moments of my life. But after that, do we ever thank him for whatever he has done? We forget him. And God is there every time by our side. You might have experienced, when you want to catch a flight or an early morning train, and you put an alarm, and before the alarm rings, 5 minutes before you are awake, and as if somebody has woken you up. This is your feeling, this is the experience that we get. Who woke me up? God, who is the father and mother, who also knows my child has to catch a train, has to catch a plane, so he should not be late. So just as you would wake up your own child, he also wakes you up. Even though when you have kept the alarm, he wakes you up. This is not only on certain days or on special occasions, but every time, every day in the morning, God is there to wake me up. But after that, I never even look towards him. He wakes me up having this thought. As soon as he would get up, the first thing he will do is he would remember me with love. But do we ever remember God as soon as we get up? No. And what is the first thing we ask? Has the newspapers come or not? So we take up the newspaper and start reading the newspaper. We don't remember God. So God thinks, okay, doesn't matter. Let him read the newspaper, get all news that is necessary for him. Afterwards, when he gets ready, the first thing he will do is remember me. After reading the newspaper, we get ready and immediately, is the breakfast ready or not? And we sit down to have our breakfast. We don't remember God, hardly. Some people remember him. After doing the breakfast, when God sees that he is having his breakfast, he thinks doesn't matter. He is hungry. Let him have his breakfast first. Before going to office, definitely he will remember me. But even while going to the office also, we immediately leave, just join our hands and move off, go to the office. We don't have time to look towards him. So God also thinks doesn't matter, he's getting late for office, let him go. But before he would start his work, definitely he's going to remember me. As soon as we go to the office, we meet some people, hello, hi, things going on, good morning, everything. Do we ever remember him before starting our work also? 2 minutes in his remembrance? No, we don't have time. And we start off with the work. So God feels doesn't matter. Let him do his work. Before taking his food, before lunch, he'll definitely remember me. And this is how he's waiting for us. But as soon as we finish our work and we go off for lunch, do we ever think about him 2 minutes also? No. We have our lunch, so God feels doesn't matter. He's hungry, no? Let him have his food. And in the evening, he'll definitely remember me. And once we come from the office back to the house, in the evening, we have to go out to some parties or weddings and this or that, so we leave immediately. Don't remember God. And as soon as we go out, so God feels, well, he has to sustain his social relations also, so let him go. Doesn't matter. But before going to bed, definitely he is going to remember me. After coming back from the parties, what do? We switch on the television. So God feels doesn't matter. Let him entertain himself also. Before going to bed, he will definitely remember me. But while seeing the television, we go off to sleep. So the whole day, how many times do we look towards him? Do we remember him from the heart? Do we ever do that? Hardly. Just imagine you love your child so much. You're always there by his side and he doesn't even look towards you. How would you feel? The same thing. But still, again, the next day morning, God is there to wake me up with so much of love. Whenever any problems come in life, he is there to help us. But we don't look towards him. We try to contact this person, contact him, call him, phone him, this, that. And when everybody would say, well, it is beyond our limits, we can't help you, I'm sorry, that is when we would say, oh God, please help me. But he is always there. And during that time when we don't look to him, look for friends and relatives, this, that person, the time is going by, the time has gone. So then after the time has gone, God also cannot help us. Still he tries his level best to comfort me, to console me. So this is the love of God. As the child grows up, when he starts going to school, he develops an attachment with the teacher. So when he comes back home from school, he talks about his teacher. My teacher is like this, my teacher is like that, my teacher, I'm the favorite student in my class for my teacher. And the parents are least interested in the teachers. So they said, stop this now. Stop about your teacher. What is there about your teacher every time? So we again stop him. This is how those small children lose interest in their teachers. Lose that love from study also. Because when they don't love their teachers, how would they love the study? But those who love the teachers, they love the study also. It reminds me of a beautiful incident, which is a true story, that once there was a child, very clever in school, always came first, so he was the favorite student of his teacher. The teacher had so many hopes in him. But after 7th standard, he came first, but because his father did not have money to pay off further fees, the father said, now stop studying and get into the fields. We are farmers, so we have to grow crops only. There's no need, you have had enough study now. So he made the child get into the fields and become a farmer. That became the vision. But still, because he used to love study, when the teacher did not see this student in the 8th standard, so he was worrying what happened to this boy. So he inquired from his friends, what happened? Why is he not coming to school? So his friends said, well, his father does not have enough money to pay off for the fees. So he has made him go to the fields now. The teacher felt so bad. He went up to his house and to talk to his father, and he said, look, don't spoil the future of your child. He's such a clever boy. He's not meant for the fields. If he would study, he would become something in his life and glorify your name also. But the father said, well, I do not have money to pay off for his fees, and I cannot make him study now. So the teacher said, okay, we'll find up a way. You send him to school, I'll pay for his fees. So for the 8th standard, his teacher paid for his fees, thinking that the future should not be spoiled. And after that, he found someone in a way who could give him the scholarship. So he got a scholarship for him. And then as he was studying very hard, finally he got him a sponsorship and sent him to foreign lands to study and become something. When he became a big scientist and he comes back home, and the moment he got off from the car, he tells his friend, you take the luggage inside, I'll come within a few minutes. And immediately goes to his teacher's house, who's very old, cannot see properly, is not able to walk properly. He goes to his house and says, sir, I have come back. So the sir says, who is it? Because he could not see clearly. It was night time. So this boy says, I'm your student, whom you had sent abroad. I've come back with a degree. And that's why I've first come to meet you and take your blessings. And he touches the feet of the teacher. And the teacher has tears rolling down his eyes. And he feels so great within that today I've made a future of one boy. And he feels so much satisfied from within. After taking the blessings of the teacher, that student comes back to his house. And his friend said, where did you go off? Your father was waiting for you. So he said, I went to see my teacher. But you could have gone tomorrow morning. Why was the need to go now only? So that boy said, no. Whatever I am today, it is because of that teacher. My father was not able to pay the fees. I would have been a farmer only. Whatever he has made my life, so I owe him. That are the feelings. But it is only when there is that love between the student and the teacher. Similarly, God is also our supreme teacher, who teaches us and makes us worthy to stand in front of the world. Today, many a times people tell us also, sister, whomever we listen, they are full of knowledge, as if knowledge, that nectar is flowing. How come? You are all such worthy souls. Just imagine our teacher, how great he must be. In the world, one teacher would make the life of one child. But here, our teacher is such efficient. He has created the lives of so many. Each and every one, he has made them worthy to stand in front of the world and talk about him. So that is the greatness of our teacher, who has blessed us, who has carved our lives, has sculpted our life in such a way. Just as when a student is weak in any subject, the teacher would give him more and more examples, more and more sums to try so that he masters that subject. He gives him so much of practice. The more practice he gets, he is also happy that he is learning, and he becomes master in that field, in that particular subject. Similarly, the trials that we have to go through in our lives, These trials are to make us perfect and worthy, because our teacher wants to see that every student of his life, every student of his has to pass in this thing called life through various trials, and nobody could ever fail him, but he should always be successful in his life. But whenever we have trials in our life, we start grumbling. Why is God giving me and taking me through so many trials? Why is this thing happening with me again and again? But it shows that you are weak in that subject. That is why He is giving you more and more practice so that you become perfect in that subject. But we hardly realize that love of the teacher. And we start grumbling, what is life for me? It is taking me through so many trials, and again I have such difficulties to solve in my life. But it is the teacher who is trying to make you perfect in that subject. So never grumble. But the more you get the practice, the perfect you are becoming in your lives. You are becoming such experienced souls that nobody can ever fail you in your life. The third relationship is that of a guru and a disciple. Whenever a disciple would go in front of a guru, what is the desire? To serve the guru in such a way that he claims the blessings automatically. So similarly, when God is our supreme guru, supreme preceptor, Sat Guru, He is also enabling us to serve in such a way that we claim the blessings and become worthy of His blessings every time. Supposing one day you get up early in the morning and you open the door and you find your guru standing out there, how would you feel? What a beautiful day it is today. Early morning I get up and I get the darshan of my guru. And if at that moment your guru raises his hand and blesses you, we feel so fortunate, as if my days have changed from now onwards. This is the feeling. Here also everybody was made to wake up at 4 o'clock, isn't it? How many are able to wake up at 4 o'clock? And you know why we made you to wake up at 4 o'clock? Because that is the time when God becomes the guru and He is giving the fortune freely. Bhagya Vidhata. He is the bestower of fortune at that time. And He bestows fortune freely, without any efforts, as much as you want. That is the best time. It is said to be Amrit Vela Brahma Muhurat. So the best moments of our day are the early morning hours, and where He becomes the bestower of fortune from 2:30 to 5 o'clock. This is the best time for Him to distribute. But that is the best time for sleep also. Isn't it? A person cannot sleep the whole night. But after 2:30, he would get very good sleep. Until 5 o'clock, the best sleep. And he will become fresh in that 2 hours also, 2.5 hours also. Because Maya does not want you to become the children of God and take that fortune from Him. So she makes you sleep, very good sleep. So that is why the whole night the person cannot sleep maybe. But after 2:30 to 5, this 2.5 hours sleep is the best sleep that they experience, which makes them fresh. So now what would you like to have? The fortune or the sleep? That is upon you. Whether you want the blessings of God or whether you want the comfort of Maya. What would you like to have? It is up to you. That is why when people talk about fortune, what do they normally say? When God was distributing fortune, were you asleep at that time? Because that is the best period for sleep also. So either you would get Maya, either you would get the fortune. Whatever you want to have. But we find that some people, they wake up and come here also. They sit here. But while sitting here also, they would go like this. Now supposing you are writing something in your diary, and the moment you have a nod, what happens? The line would go down. It would not go up. So in the early morning hours, God gives you the pencil to write the fortune with your own hands. As much as fortune you would like to have, draw the line as long as you want to draw. But the moment you are drawing that line in an upward direction, and at that time, the moment you have started drawing the line, and at that time you have a nod, you get sleep. What happens to that line? It would come down. So when the line would come down, we miss that fortune. And then we start complaining, oh God, what type of fortune you have written for me? My neighbor's fortune is so elevated and my fortune like this? But who made that fortune? God would say, I have given that pen in your hand to draw the line of your fortune. You slept, what can I do? That's why it went down. So nobody is responsible. I am responsible. Isn't it? So that is why in the early morning hours we can have the best communication with God and we can experience His love also. And take all the fortune in form of blessings. So this is why, don't just wake up till here, but when you go from here also, realize this. And try to wake up early in the morning to get that blessings from Him, to get that fortune from Him, and you can see your days changing. You'll get the best days in your life. So this is the love of a Satguru. Whenever you want to call somebody, the whole day you may go on trying his number, but the number is engaged. You get an engaged tone, you get an engaged tone. So what will you do? If you want to catch him, you catch him in the morning hours. Because in the morning hours his line is not busy. So you can immediately catch him. Within the city you can go also. But if he is staying outside the city, in another city, you want to catch him in the morning hours, you catch him. And whenever you dial the number in another city, you have to put a 0 in front. The 0 signifies that the local line is cut and now the outside line has started. But when you want to call somebody in foreign lands and you try the whole day and you cannot get him, you try early morning and you find that person and you can talk to him. But for that you need to apply 2 zeros. Isn't it? The first 0 to cut the local lines, the second 0 is to cut the national line. And then the international dialing starts. But when you want to contact God, who is far beyond this physical world, you have to apply 3 zeros. So today I'll give you the secret code, dialing number of God. Okay? So the secret code number is 0001. And this cannot be on the STD lines. You won't get this number. But this number is when you come in the morning hours and sit here, the first 0 which shows the local lines have to be cut. So the local line for the soul is the body and the sense organs. So in the morning hours, the sense organs are also quiet. There is no mischief done by the sense organs in the early morning hours. So the local line is cut. And the first 0 means I am a soul. Soul is a point of light. It is 0. Then second 0 is I have to connect myself to the Supreme, who is also a point of light, who is also a 0. And the national line is my relationships. My father, mother, brothers, sisters, friends, all. So in the early morning hours, they are all asleep. Nobody is going to disturb me. So the lines of the bodily relationship is cut. And the third 0 is that in the early morning hours, there are no tasks also to be performed, no work to be done. All the worldly work starts after 8 o'clock. So in the morning hours, all the worldly work also is put a full stop. There is no other work at that moment. So the full stop to all worldly activities. So 3 zeros and then 1. That mine is only one God and no one else. As Mirabai said, one God and no one else. So 1 for him. So 0001. That is the secret dialing code for Supreme. And as you connect him in the morning, in the morning hours, the line is very clear. You can easily communicate with him. And he is also there to respond to whatever you have to talk to him. He responds in a beautiful way. And your intuition is also so powerful in the morning hours that whatever he is talking to you, you can also listen and understand his language. So this is how you claim the blessings from the Guru and you become worthy. In these 3 relations that we have, more we owe than we give. But in the 4th relationship of a friend, there is a give and take. It is not one-sided, but there is a give and take. So what is the give and take? Whenever you want to remember your friend, it is easy or difficult? It is easy. How would you remember your friend? Whatever good things or bad things or any experience you get, you feel I would share this with my friend, he would like the most. Even whatever you have seen here, whatever you have felt here, you feel when I go back I'll share with my friend, he will like this. Even bad experiences you have, any secrets you have, you share with your friend. There are some secrets that we don't open up in front of everyone. Not in front of the parent, not in front of the teacher, not in front of the Guru also. But in front of a friend, you open up your heart. You can talk to him anything you have. All your feelings you just share with him. Similarly, make God your best friend. Khuda dost. Make Khuda, God, your best friend. And you can share whatever comes in your heart. All good things, all bad things, you can talk to him. And you will find he will help you in every task. Every moment he is there by you. Therefore it is said, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And God is such a friend who sustains that relationship once you have established with him with great love and faith. He's faithful in maintaining that relationship. We may not be faithful, but he is faithful. Once there was a brother, and I asked the brother, have you got some time? I have some work for you. So he said, sister, I'm so busy today. Tomorrow is Sunday, I can do whatever you ask for. But today, please excuse me. So I said, no matter, you can go. So he went from the center And as soon as he went from the center down below, he met with a friend, an old friend maybe. So after an hour or so, I had to go out somewhere. So when I came out of the center, I saw this brother standing there talking to someone. So I said, brother, you did not have time today, and now it's 1 hour and you're still here. So he looked at the watch and said, 1 hour? I didn't even realize. What can I do? My friend is such an old friend, and after such a long time we met together. Anyway, I had to go out, so I went out. The next day morning I asked him, what did you talk for 1 hour? So he started to think, what did I talk for 1 hour? He was not able to recollect. So he said, well, everything, all these things that has happened, and all these years I was sharing with him. But I said, these are useless things and you wasted your time, 1 hour. You did not have time and you wasted 1 hour for useless things sharing with him. You could have done that any time. I said, no, he's going to go back. We won't meet him afterwards. So that's why I hardly realized 1 hour passed. So whatever comes in the heart, you can share it with your friend. That's the best place where you can share everything. On any subject you can talk. But wherever the friendship is established, there has to be some similarities. Without similarities, there cannot be a friendship. Either there should be a similarity of age, either there should be the similarity of nature, either there should be a similarity of the same hobbies, or if we are in some foreign lands and somebody from our village would come up or our hometown would come up, even if there is a great age difference over everything, but still we'll develop a friendship because he's from my hometown. That's why. The same thing. If I want to establish a relationship of a friendship with God, what are the similarities with God that we have? Do we have any similarities? Yes, the form is similar. I am also a point of light. He is also a point of light. The second similarity is of nature. I am a pure soul. He is the ocean of purity. I am a peaceful being. He is the ocean of peace. I am a knowledgeful soul. He is the ocean of knowledge. I am a loveful soul. He is the ocean of love. So the nature is alike. He is also all virtuous. The soul initially is also all virtuous. So we have similar nature. And the third similarity is we belong from the same abode, the hometown. He is also the resident of Paramdham. I am also the resident of Paramdham. So we are both from the same hometown. So can we have friendship now? Yes, we can have a beautiful friendship with God. And it reminds me of a beautiful story that once there was a person who had established a friendship with God. So one day he tells God, God, you own heaven. You are the master of heaven. Sometimes I wanted to have this experience of what the heavenly kingdom would be like. So can you give me this experience? So God says, definitely I can give you the experience of the heavenly kingdom. So how many days would you like to have this experience? So this friend says, just 10 days. 10 days is enough, I think. So God says, just 10 days? Says, yes. Says, okay, go to heaven. You be the master of heaven for the next 10 days. So the first day when this human being goes to heavenly kingdom, he experiences what prosperity and what comforts we have in heaven. And in 10 days everything will be over. So in heavenly kingdom everything is, all the resources are easily available and you can create anything very fast. So he created another similar heaven for him in 10 days. And after 10 days gave back the heavenly kingdom to God. Now when God saw that he has created a similar heaven for his own self, he started smiling. He said, this human being did not leave me also. He does not leave human beings, but he did not leave me also. But he did not get angry. On the contrary, he thought, now the friendship is at an equal level. So this is the benefit that we get when we establish a friendship with God. Whatever you feel like, he is there to give you. He is there to share with you. Nothing you feel as if I'm lacking in my life. He fulfills all your treasures. This is the experience, the inner treasures. He enriches you from internally, giving you all that which you need. So this is the friendship. He's always by your side to help you at any moment. The fifth relationship which Mirabai established with him as a beloved, taking God to be the beloved, and every time feeling his company, feeling that God is your best companion, a life companion. Many a times people come up to us and say, sister, you don't know what is happening in today's world. It is good that you renounced everything and you have come here and you are sitting here. But in the worldly household life, we have to go through so many difficulties. What experience you have of what a household life is? We have to satisfy so many people's heart, which is so difficult at times. Well, we are also experienced in this matter. Yes, we did not get married to any bodily being, but we had the courage to get married with the Supreme Being and accept his family to be our own family. Whenever parents would look for a house for their daughter, what would they see? That it should be a small family, and the more nucleus it is better for my child, because she is not able to keep the hearts of everyone satisfied. So this is why they look for a small family, not a big family. She won't be able to satisfy everybody. But we had the courage that we will be able to satisfy all at one time also. Because we know who our companion is. The most powerful and efficient one is with us. So we had this courage, and that is why we entered into this relationship with the Supreme as a beloved, and accepting his family to be our family, and at the same time to satisfy everybody. So when you are here in your stay, are you comfortable? Do you get everything, whatever you feel like, whatever you have desired? How is the food and everything? Any problem anywhere? You didn't get anything? Or somebody did not behave in a proper way with you? Anybody went through any problems? Anybody has any complaints about this place? About any people who are dedicated here? Yeah? Everything is perfect for you? Are you sure? Nothing is wrong? Wherever human beings are, something definitely goes wrong. But in a house also what happens? When there are guests at our house, and when something goes wrong, the companion would try to hide. Look, my wife, she has a very beautiful heart. She doesn't feel bad. But only at times the children, they are naughty, so she gets angry and she is not able to satisfy in this way. So don't mind, I am there. So the companion tries to hide everything and tries to show in front of the guest that my wife is the best wife of the world, isn't it? This is how he would like to project. And similarly, the wife also would try to project the husband also in the best way in front of the world. Similarly, when you are here, such a big gathering, something must have gone wrong somewhere. But our companion is also such powerful that whenever something went wrong, he put some blinds on your eyes. You are not able to see what went wrong. And this is how he always projects each and every one of us to be perfect, to be the best in the world. So this is what a companion is. He never gets angry on us. Such a beautiful companion he is. And whatever situation comes up, even poisonous situations, but that is also transformed into nectar. So this is the love of a companion, the beloved. He loves us so much. He never shows any weakness of any of his companions out into the world. Will you get any such companion like this in the world? Huh? Such a beautiful companion he is. The sixth relationship is where, like Sati and Suya, who adopted God to be the child. So you can adopt God as your child also. He would not take anything from you. On the contrary, he would serve you. It reminds me of a beautiful incident that there was one lady. Every day she used to come in class and take her seat, the first seat. Now it happened so that she had 3 children, 3 sons. So whenever you would ask that lady, how many children you have, she would say 4 children. The 4th child, she thought God is my 4th child, the youngest one. And naturally the mothers have more love on the youngest one. So she loved God so much, thinking him to be her child. Now it happened so that as the children grew up, everyone went to some different places for their business and for their service. The lady was left alone in the house. But she was still so happy because having this feeling that my 4th child is with me. And she used to talk to him in a natural way, like a child, cook for him very lovingly, offer him the prasad, and then have for herself. She was passing her life beautifully. Now one day, she did not come in the morning class. And the one who comes every day, if she is not to be seen, definitely everybody would think about her. Why is this Mataji not here? So we also thought, why did Mataji not come today? Maybe she is alone at home, her health is not okay, so we should go and see her. So after the class, we were preparing to go to her house to see what had happened. Why she didn't come for the morning class. And as soon as we stepped out of the center, we saw her coming. So then we asked her, Mataji, you did not come in the morning. How come you came at this time? So she said, today I was sitting with my child at home only. So we thought any one of the 3 might have come. So we asked her, which one has come? So she said, no, they don't have time to come here. But I was sitting with my 4th child. What happened? So she said that yesterday evening, I was feeling feverish. And then the fever went on increasing throughout the night. And throughout the night I had high fever. And my body ache was so much. In the morning I got up also, but I could not get up from the bed because there was so much of weakness that I was having. Body ache, my eyes were like burning, my throat was drying, and the temperature was very high. So then I said, what happened then? So she said, I was feeling so thirsty, but I did not have the courage to go up to the kitchen and take a glass of water. So then she said, well, I told him, my child, my dear child, won't you give me a glass of water? So I said, then what happened? So she said, nobody came. But the thirst was quenched, and I felt as if I drank water. And then what happened? Then she said, I again lied down on the bed, and I felt as if somebody is pressing my feet. And I see there is no one, but I can have this feeling. Somebody is very beautifully pressing my feet. And then I felt as if somebody was pressing on my head. And in that I had sleep. And 2 hours beautiful sleep I had. And after 2 hours when I get up, no fever, no body ache, nothing. This fourth child of mine is so good. He serves me. He presses my feet. And he does everything for me. I was so happy today to have this experience that God serves as a child also. He does not demand anything from us. But on the contrary, He serves us whenever we talk to Him as a child. When we love Him as a child, He also responds to us and He serves us. So these are the relationship that we can establish with God and take the happiness of each and every relationship. So whichever relationship you like the most, you can establish that with God and have a hearty communion constantly with Him. There will be no moment when you have this complaint that my mind is wandering away somewhere. It is like a naughty horse. It is like a monkey jumping from one place to another. No, those complaints are gone forever. And this is how we enter the third step. And the third step is where we get absorbed in His remembrance. When the love is so deep and easily, wherever we can, wherever we may be sitting, wherever we may be, but we will just get absorbed. And this absorption also gives us a beautiful experience. Like you might have seen people swimming. There are some swimmers who like to swim in a swimming pool. There are some swimmers who like to swim in a river. And there are some swimmers who like to swim in an ocean. Those who like to swim in the ocean, they don't like the swimming pool because they like to go against the waves and enjoy. But in an ocean, there are two types of swimmers. One who surf on the waves, and the second type of who like to go deep into the sea and dive. And the moment they dive, they go into another world and start exploring that world. Similarly, the third stage of meditation is like diving in an ocean, getting absorbed in the love of the Supreme, and as if you enter another world and you start exploring that world and you start exploring the different aspects of life also. And every moment you feel His companionship and as if you move with Him gradually. It is such a beautiful feeling, like when the divers, they dive into the ocean, they enter another world, they are so engrossed in exploring that world that they hardly realize how much time has passed by. For hours they are in there engrossed. When the top people, they pull the rope, that is when they realize so much time has passed by, we need to go back. Similarly, the third stage of meditation is when we get deeply engrossed in the remembrance of the Supreme. We get deeply absorbed. And as if we are just experiencing, going to the experience, and we hardly realize how much time has passed by. And this is how we enter the fourth stage, which is the stage of realization. We become realized. We enter into that stage which is mentioned in the path of bhakti as samadhi. Deeply engrossed, getting into the experience of different aspects. Whenever the mind is disturbed maybe, we can enter into that ocean of bliss and experience bliss. Whenever we feel angry, irritated, we sit in meditation, enter the ocean of peace and just get relaxed. Get into that peaceful realization. Whenever you are feeling sad, just dive into the ocean of happiness and just get into that state of happiness and have this realization. So different experiences, and it is not great to get an experience. Experience is very easy. Supposing you have come here in Mount Abu, the days now are very beautiful. But if you come in the month of December, January, which are the coldest times, and the temperature drops and sometimes goes into the minus temperature, and during that time, you get up early in the morning and you want to have a shower, and there is a bucket of cold water, no hot water. Seeing that bucket of cold water, not even dipping your hand into your finger into it, what happens? There is a shivering that passes through the whole body. And you immediately come out of the bathroom and somebody asks you, what happened? Such a cold. And the water is also cold, but you did not even touch the water. Is it necessary to touch the water? No. You can get the experience of that shivering. If you can get the experience of cold, can't you get the experience of peace? Who gave you the experience of cold? It is through the power of your own thoughts that you got this experience of cold. So similarly, with the power of thoughts, you can get the experience of peace also. Supposing you have gone to a friend's house and sat there talking to him, hardly realizing how much time has passed by. And it is midnight, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night. And after midnight you realize, oh, it's so late, I have to go back home. And your friend says, but it is so late now, you sleep here only. Go in the morning. And you say, no, it's just a 15 minutes walk, I'll go back to my home. But why should you go at this time? It is such a lonely time and you never can trust time at this time. There may be some drunkards or something going on. Why should you go at this time? Stay home here only. There is nobody to wait for you at home. So you sleep here and go in the morning. And you say, no, I'll go back. And you go out. The moment you enter that lonely path and you hear some noises, what will happen? What will happen? You start sweating. Even though if it is cold, you start sweating. As you move forward and the noise is increasing and you feel as if it is nearing you, what happens? You get fear. You're afraid. But still you gather the courage to move forward. And the noise is such different type. And it is very close to you. You feel as if it is very close. Immediately you turn back and run back to your friend's house. And your friend asks you, what happened? What would you say? Today, the experience of fear that I had, never ever I had such an experience. So how did you get the experience of fear? Through the power of thoughts. As you are moving, as you entered that lonely path and you first heard the noise, you thought there was some cat or a dog maybe. So that vision came in front of your eyes, a cat or a dog. As you moved further, the noise became nearing, and as if it was a person maybe. So in your vision you had there is a man maybe who's standing with a knife and he is trying to find that right time to stab me. But still you gather courage and you still move forward, and the sound is such different and you feel as if it is nearing you, and at that time you feel What if the wandering souls are there, evil spirits are there? So moment you visualize that wandering souls or evil spirit, you start sweating in such a manner and you have fear and you run back home. So every time those visions that you created, dog, a cat, a man with knife, then wandering souls, evil spirit, you get the experience. So getting experience is nothing great. You can get experience anytime. It is just through the power of thoughts. So if you can get the experience of fear, can't we get the experience of love? Can't we get the experience of happiness? Can't we get the experience of peace? Yes, we can. So this is how the more the mind is absorbed in the remembrance of the Supreme, I enter into that stage of realization where I start getting the experiences. And I decorate my life with those beautiful experiences. So this is the 4 stages of meditation. Initially, we have to go through the struggle between the positive and negative. Then when we establish the relationship, we can talk to him whatever comes in the heart. And then when we are able to focus our mind and we start getting engrossed in his remembrance, the 4th stage, we get absorbed in the remembrance and we enter into the stage of realization. So these are the 4 stages of meditation. Verbally, whatever I was able to tell you, I told you. Now, it depends upon how much you are able to go through these various stages and go into the experiences. Okay? Om Shanti. So 2 minutes we shall sit in meditation. A song will be played. Bhagwan Hamara Saathi.
खुलते ही आँख हमें मिलते, हर पल वो साथ मेरे चलते। कितना वो प्यार हमें करते, उनकी पलकों में हम पलते। हम खुश नसीब उनको पाकर, हम खुश नसीब उनको पाकर, जिंदगी हमारी गाती है। भगवान हमारा साथी है। शिक्षा देते, रक्षा करते, अपना सर्वस्व लुटाते हैं। प्यारी मुरली प्रतिदिन हमको, प्यारी मुरली प्रतिदिन हमको, आती प्रभु प्रेम की पाती है। भगवान हमारा साथी है। हाजिर है हजार भुजाओं से, अपनी किस्मत के क्या कहने, सिर पर है हाथ दुआओं के। ऐसा साथी किसका होगा, ऐसा साथी किसका होगा, ये सोच आँख भर आती है। भगवान हमारा साथी है। हम उनके संग संग रहते हैं, वो अपने संग संग रहते हैं। जैसे दीपक में बाती है भगवान